Okay, you guys, we're here at Colectivo Podcast. I'm not sure in the series of numbers what number this would be, but I am very excited today to be sharing some time with Griselda. Griselda has been with NVCS now for probably going on 3 years. 3 years, Griselda? Yep. Todos, feliz tarde, feliz mañana cuando esté entonizándose a este programa de Colectivo Podcast. Estoy muy contento de estar compartiendo este espacio con Griselda. Griselda ha estado con North Valley Caring Services como 3 años y ella trabaja en el programa que se llama Safe Parking. Trabaja ayudando a nuestros clientes, nuestros amigos a encontrar viviendas. Y le doy la bienvenida a Griselda. You guys, Griselda works here at NVCS Safe Parking Program, and her main function is to connect people with housing, people that are in our Safe Parking Program. So I'd like to welcome Griselda to Podcast Colectivo.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm going to see how well this goes. The first time I'm ever doing this, so I'm not quite sure how it's going to turn out.
So hopefully you'll be very uncomfortable for most of the programming, but no, seriously, it's something that's new. It's been dedicated to just sharing a little bit more about the people who are here in the center, whether it's the people we serve, the people who work here at NVCS, just things that no one would really know unless they had a platform like this. Estamos compartiendo ahorita programación que tiene que ver con las personas que pasan por aquí, por NVCS, sean empleados o sean personas cuales nosotros servimos, voluntarios, para que usted conozca más de las personas que está aquí. So Griselda, again, welcome. Tell me a little bit about yourself, where you were raised, where you were born, what type of childhood did you have, qué tipo de niñez tuvo Griselda, queremos saber todos.
Pues yo crecí con varios hermanos que son adictos a la droga y creo que por eso la mayoría del tiempo es la razón por cual estoy aquí trabajando donde estoy trabajando, tratando de ayudar y tratando de ver personas que pueden hacer algo mejor con su vida de con lo que crecieron. Muchas personas tienen problemas, no saben cómo sobresalir sus problemas y pues gracias a Dios estamos nosotros aquí tratando de ayudar a las personas que sí realmente quieren buscar ayuda.
So you witnessed addiction at a very early age, is what you're saying?
Very early.
Can you remember before addiction enter your household? How was the relationship with your siblings? ¿Te puedes acordar antes de la adicción, antes de los problemas? ¿Cómo fue la interacción con tus hermanos?
I think there's always been addiction since I can remember. I mean, I grew up remembering we're 9. So out of 9 of us at 15, all my sisters were having kids that were pregnant and all my brothers were drug addicts. And that's all I remember growing up. There's like nothing that I can say that was different. That was the life I lived.
So no hay un momento donde tú puedas decir cambió algo. Básicamente es algo que has conocido toda tu vida, lo que es la adicción.
Sí, pues cuando yo crecí soy the 8th one in my family. So somos 9 y yo soy...
So tienes 7 hermanos, hermanas menores que tú. Tú eres la octava de 9.
Sí. Y pues cuando yo ya crecí, todos mis familiares mis hermanos ya estaban grandes y ya tenían sus vidas y pues la mayoría de ellos eran adictos a la droga o al alcoholismo y mis hermanas ya estaban teniendo sus familias a los 15 años.
Yo te agradezco mucho que compartas algo tan personal con nosotros. Pensaba que iba a ser un poquito más ligero, más light el programación, pero aquí este platform es para eso. Este programa es para compartir cosas que pues nos brotan del alma. You guys, I thought it'd be a little bit more, relaxed and fun because this woman here has an awesome sense of humor. But I'm very pleased that you would allow us into such an intimate space, and I think there's a lot of value there. And I think we'll get to the humor part. But so you sort of grew up in a family with siblings that would you categorize it as addiction, or was just something normal in your household that you didn't really have labeled?
I think for me it was normal because that's what I saw every day. I didn't know that other families didn't have so many drug addicts or so many sisters having kids at such a young age, because this is what I grew into. My mom at some point tried to get away from that because we used to live out in Southgate, Huntington Park, and we ended up in Sylmar. Never in my life had I heard of the San Fernando Valley, but I guess she was trying to get away from it all. It didn't end up happening.
So es algo que de niña tú no lo categorizabas como, es una familia que tiene adictos. Era una familia normal, es algo que conociste, y creciendo en Huntington Park, mucha gente no sabe que cuando hay adicción presente en una familia, usualmente esa familia está moviéndose mucho. What do you remember about your time in Huntington Park?
Recuerdo que mi mamá era muy trabajadora. Ella era dueña de apartamentos, unidades de casas, y ella sola, porque pues nunca hubo un papá presente. Pero yo no recordaba, como comenté hace rato, la vida normal, o se me hacía a mí normal que mis hermanos eran adictos, mis hermanas tenían ya sus hijos a los 15 años, y pues nomás miraba a mi mamá trabajar mucho y mis hermanos y mis hermanas criando sus familias. So, sinceramente, yo pensaba que a cierta edad eso era lo que me iba a tocar a mí.
Es tan interesante. You guys, it's so interesting. To have a working mom, professional, I wouldn't say business owner, I mean, real estate owner, and to be functioning and to grow up in the household and at a certain age, you just mentioned the fact that, you almost expected to become your mom and to, in essence, become your mom wasn't an addict though, was she?
No.
No. So, but basically to inherit certain traits that, were around you consistently, I think that's just amazing. In a group of 7, 8 siblings, was there a sibling that you sort of identified with more, gravitated more, or is it across the board you felt the same and interacted the same with all of your siblings?
No, I think they were just older than I was, and my youngest sister is the one that I identified with more just because we were closer in age. We were just a year apart, and as I started growing up and we moved away, I think I had higher expectations of us not having a kid at 15 when I realized that wasn't supposed to happen. Yo crecí pensando que a los 15 igual y yo ya iba a tener mi familia, pero pues cuando me fui dando cuenta que esa no era la realidad de las cosas, yo quise acabar la escuela, y de todos los 9, porque ni la más chica de nosotros acabó la high school, soy la única que terminé. Y so ya para mí eso was like, I was hoping that my younger sister would follow in my footsteps and we would be the only 2 that graduated high school, but it wasn't like that. She ended up started having her kids when she was 17. So I was the only one that didn't have a kid, and I was 18 and actually had graduated. So that was like a big deal for me.
It's a super big deal. Hay tantas facetas a lo que es Griselda, y Griselda es una profesional quien fue a la escuela, estudió, sacó sus credenciales para poder trabajar en el trabajo que trabaja, y sigue con el afán de poder seguir en sus estudios y obtener ciertas certificaciones para continuar creciendo como una persona, una profesional. Pero, it always amazes me to see there's certain siblings that will easily fall into like inherited traits, whether it's alcoholism or drugs or something. And then there might be one of the kids or maybe a few of them that will say, not me. I'm going to use that to say, I don't want that for my life. I don't want to be like that. In the process of discovering that drugs or alcohol or whatever the addictions would be, deciding that was not going to be for you, did that sort of separate you at all from your family that were actively involved in the usage of drugs and stuff?
I think so, because I see that they would always have problems in their family. Like the relationship would break and then they would try to start a new one, but they would never let go of their addiction. So I thought it was really hard to see that someone having an addiction was going to be able to have and fulfill a life with the kids and be hardworking. It's just, it didn't seem to go hand in hand.
Yeah, el vivir en un ambiente donde hay adictos y no ser alguien que consume, llega a haber un momento donde hay un distanciamiento, porque me imagino que en las fiestas, me imagino que el tener un tiempo feliz en un ambiente así es siempre participar en el uso de alguna droga o alcohol o algo cual tú decidiste no hacer. I can just imagine parties and hangouts where, you know, people might be using drugs and you're saying it's not for me. I mean, that all of a sudden that's going to start distancing you away from people that you care for.
I think my friends understood. They understood that it's something that I was not interested in. Salíamos a fiestas at a very young age, eso sí que salía a fiestas, pero nunca me dio por querer tomar alcohol. Yo era como the mom of the group, yo era el sober one, ellos tomaban, nos divertíamos y I would drive back. Like, I made sure that we got home safe.
Oh, ya sé quién era Griselda. Griselda era la que manejaba para todas las muchachas, sí. Era la mamá. Yes, you're the designated driver. Nice, nice. No se crean, Griselda tiene un aspecto de que ella, las cosas que hace es porque quiere, tiene una personalidad muy fuerte, es mi experiencia con ella, y da una cara que de alguna manera es muy fuerte porque ha vivido muchas experiencias, pero también es una persona muy sensible, que sí. Muy fácilmente puede ser afectada. You know, Griselda is somebody who, you know, since I've known her, she's a very strong-willed person. And also a person who is very opinionated, which is a great thing, but she's also a very sensitive person, which is kind of weird to see go hand in hand. And I've personally just had some amazing conversations with her that I will always be able to reflect on. But tell me how working at NVCS has been for you, good and bad, because we know that, you know, it's a family center. The way we work is relational. So when it's good, it's great. When it's bad, it could be pretty bad. But how's your time at MVCS been?
Overall, I enjoy working here. I love the work we do. Me gusta que alguien entra de la calle y necesita algo y tenemos el modo de poderlos ayudar. Hay veces que uno dice, pues, ¿de quién es la responsabilidad? Pero pues la verdad es de todos. Entra alguien, tiene hambre y vamos a ver qué le agarramos de comer, a ver si tenemos una bolsa de cosas de poder darle. Just get them a hot meal in the moment. Sometimes it's not as easy. The kitchen isn't open at a certain time. I mean, I've gone as far as to ask Manny, hey, do you have the keys to the kitchen? Can we go grab this person something to eat? It's raining. It's cold outside. You know, just this is what we're here for. And this is what I enjoy about this job. It does come with its good and its bad. Sometimes it's like just difficult. You know, we have our own things going on in our lives, and sometimes to come and still want to put that good face, I don't know what it's called, like to just make sure that you're still doing your job and not letting your life affect what you're doing. And at the end of the day, I'm very proud of myself. I think I give it my all the time. I don't ever feel like I separate anything. My job is to come here and help, and that's what I do when I am here.
No, y Griselda tiene todo la razón cuando dice que la mayoría de personas aquí en North Valley Caring Services, cuando alguien entra a la agencia y tiene una necesidad, usualmente todos responden. Pero Griselda es alguien muy especial, donde ella no hay que decirle dos veces, ella no es alguien que va a evadir de alguna manera el ayudar a alguien, y siempre va a ayudar a alguien lo mejor posible. You know, there's some of us who have to work a process to be able to work ourselves up to service somebody, especially when, you know, you're about to go home, or when you have to, you know, go to the kitchen and ask for the keys or whatever it is. But you've always been somebody who I've noticed that, you know, not only are you always willing, you're always volunteering yourself to do something, and then you also do it from start to finish the best that you can, because some of us might cut corners and just give the easiest thing and feel okay with ourselves. But I've always noticed that you're genuinely trying to do the best you can for people, and that is something that I think is within you, and it's something that I've always been very proud of as a person who works with you. You have a lot to offer this world, and it's not as if you don't have enough to do, but I know it's been on pause for a while, but tell us about your experience in taking food and supplies to the underprivileged in Tijuana. How did that start? And how's that been
That's something I really enjoyed, and at some point in time I want to continue to do it when it's available. It was great to go out and be able to help these kids that, throughout the year people forget about them. They're children that come from parents that are prostituting themselves, that are drug addicts, that are out cleaning, working. And this pastor took them in so they wouldn't have to be living on the street, working basically to give their money to their parents. And it was just awesome. We went with Homero and Martha, and we only didn't go a trip to go help them out. We also went and took a little self-care for us. And it was great to be able to go with two people that were just as compassionate and caring and loving as I feel that I am towards children, just because they don't have anyone else to give them items.
Sí, el trabajo que no es trabajo, es algo que les nació a ustedes, porque nosotros no tenemos servicio en Tijuana, en México, pero les nació a ustedes, empleados de aquí de North Valley Caring Services, usar su carro, poner cosas para llevar y de alguna manera hacerlo. Mucha gente hace cosas y hace mucho alarde de lo que están haciendo, pero ustedes hacen este trabajo y es muy sutil, y sé que hay un espacio para que ustedes de alguna manera pasen un buen rato en Tijuana, pero el ayudar a los niños, muchos que son huérfanos y que han sido parte de abuso, abandonados, es algo que a mí me inspiró mucho y quiero seguir apoyando y ser parte de eso. Eso es algo que ustedes crearon, ahí es yo apoyándolos a ustedes, pero es algo que me remueve mucho mis emociones, porque por muchos años yo visitaba Tijuana llevándole recursos a personas que vivían en el basurero, un basurero que hoy en día la Sánchez Tahuada es una colonia establecida y empavimentada. A mí me redirguyó mucho mis memorias, y los felicito en una gran obra como esa. Griselda tiene tantas cosas que uno puede enfocarse. Ojalá no sea la última vez que tengamos esta entrevistas, pero no pudiera yo dejar pasar el momento de también establecer que Griselda también es una madre con una hija que está heredando muchas de las características que tiene Griselda, en que ella también ahora procura proveer para personas que están desamparadas, cosas como ropa, y ahora es muy presente también en el trabajo que hace. Felicidades por eso. Yo he visto cómo Griselda trabaja con su hija, cómo ella la va llevando, la va inculcando valores, y es una cosa que es muy bonito ver. Y felicidades. Maya she's a lovely young lady. It's obvious that the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree in this case, and she's inherited some beautiful traits that she's obviously learned from you. But how do you fit in motherhood into all of this? How do you make time?
Well, first I want to go back to how this actually all started, of us going to Tijuana. So my daughter, I was lucky enough to bring my daughter here during the pandemic. Manny let all the staff members that had children bring their kids here while we worked. So that was like great, because they weren't in school. They had internet here. The kids were able to attend school while this was all going on, and we didn't even know what to think or what to do. There was a time where we would have to be given a letter just to drive to work because we weren't even allowed to be out. So at that time, my daughter was here with me, and she saw that there was children, because I would take her with me to go do outreach. And she saw that these kids needed shoes and clothes, and that's how this all started. She tells me in the office with my other coworkers, Mom, what could we do? The kids need shoes and they need clothes. How are we going to get it for them? And at that point, I was like, yeah, like, we can barely do it for ourselves. How are we going to do this for other kids? So then my coworkers overheard, and all of a sudden the next day, the following day, there was bags of clothes and shoes at my desk. So my daughter and I took that home. We started cleaning it up, and then we started putting these bags together until we had enough to give all the kids. I ended up having enough to where we went to TJ, to the orphanage, to even have enough to give them shoes. Manny gave us food from NVCS. Homer put some other stuff with Colectivo, and Martha helped out, and we put everything together, and we went, and we were able to give a little more than we were expecting.
Yeah, no, I think the way things start are usually somebody willing to just pay attention, I think, and then to ask what Mia asked, what can we do? How can we help out? So it was a pleasure supporting her, and I know so many people stepped up, and I think they were amazed. I know there's a blog that you can look at, NVCS. There's a sort of a letter, an appeal that Mia did, and the pandemic didn't really help in regards to keeping that alive, but I look forward to seeing the things that she's going to be doing in this world. And again, it's just hats off to the work that you do as a mom and the modeling that you have done. But now here comes a time where I sort of want to ask you something that I asked Laura about. And NVCS is an amazing place where, most of my employees are women. And it's not purposeful. It's just that women here are they just do better work. They want to do the work that we're doing. And again, they do better work in this case. So it just so happens that NVCS has a lot of women working here. Este es el tiempo donde le voy a preguntar algunas cosas a Griselda, que ojalá las tome en buena onda. Pero también le pregunté a Laura, porque North Valley Caring Services tiene muchas mujeres que trabajan aquí, pero muchas de ellas son solteras. So yo les pregunto, ¿cuándo van a bajar los requerimientos para que alguien tenga oportunidad con ustedes? My question is, when are you guys going to start bringing down the qualifications for somebody to be able to court you all or to go out on a date with you all? Because I think you guys are I won't say more. Tell me.
Yeah, this is where I get nervous and then start cracking jokes.
Feel free.
And I don't want to.
Feel free.
I don't know that there's any standard. I think that just going through so many things, it's like you learn what to stay away from. And a lot of times it's difficult because a lot of people present you what you want to stay away from. I don't know how to explain myself, but I think we don't know how to act now. I think social media is so out there that people are okay with saying certain things, but in person, it's not okay to say.
Es muy interesante. Es verdad que hoy en día, el conocer a alguien, casi nadie viene a uno y se presenta y mi nombre es fulano. Ahora todo es por una página y un profil,
sí.
Perfil. Y lo que dices de que muchas veces el perfil no es lo que la persona se presenta. Todos saben que yo soy felizmente casado con Betty, pero nosotros nos conocimos de esa manera. Y antes de conocer a mi esposa, era conocer personas cuales a veces la persona en la foto no era,
sí.
A veces lo que escribía la persona de veras no era. Y fue un gasto de tiempo y energía. Sin embargo, ya cuando me iba a dar por vencido, conocí a Betty y para nosotros ha funcionado. I'm just echoing with what Griselda is saying, that, it's really impersonal now how you meet people. You sort of meet them in a safe space and someone presents himself with a picture and you hope that's them. and you go through someone's profile and you want to believe it's all true, but they're looking to, attract somebody based on what they write. And, through my own experiences, everybody knows I'm married happily to my wife, Betty. We met ourselves online, and it was quite a process of sort of experiencing all of what we're talking about. But it was also something that worked out for us. So I would say do not, if that's something that you're involved with, do not necessarily give up on that, because there are definitely good people out there on social media, but you do have to be very careful. What would you say are some of the characters that you're looking for in a man?
I don't know. I think it's a little difficult. I was married for 15 years, so just being out of the loop and then coming into this new, everything's on social media. I'm like, what's that? I'm like, put your picture up. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
So I was like so against everything and not okay with it, not sure of what I was doing. And I was like, why am I doing this? Like, someone's going to come up to me and they're going to want to meet me and go out on a date with me. And I don't know, I guess I was just so used to how it was back then. So this is still new to me. And I've been, I think, separated for 5 years now. And it's like, yeah, I don't like this.
15 años de casada y estás hablando de tener que entender cómo es que alguien conoce a una persona y se ha hecho un poco difícil.
Sí.
Pero ahora, seamos sinceros, ¿verdad? Llega una persona, dice Griselda, tiene los ojos más bonitos del mundo, mi nombre es fulano, quiero conocerte, quiero llevar a cenar. ¿Eso te sorprendería y cómo responderías?
Creo que sí me sorprendería porque ya nadie hace eso. Y luego yo bromeo mucho y a veces no, that doesn't come out, right? People are like, why is she laughing? And I'm like, oh, because I'm nervous or whatever. I just don't know how to act, I guess.
So can you imagine someone saying, hey, Griselda, oh my God, you have such a beautiful eyes, and I think you're so funny and smart, and I'd like to take you out on a date, and you'd come back with some crazy answer like?
Why? And laugh. I don't know how to do this. I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I'm so out of the loop. Like,
so this is where I'm talking to the guys who are tuning in. It's not a no all the time. Sometimes it's I'm nervous. I don't know how to react. No one really does this anymore. And so don't give up, especially if you think the person is a quality person. I appreciate you being generous and sharing with me. What do you think that people, if given a chance, people that just see you from the work that you do, from the small amount of time that they see you here, what would you want someone to know about Griselda?
I don't know. That's a little bit of a tough question just because I think for me I'm very hardworking, and I think if someone sees me, they can see that, and I don't know how else to present myself or whatever. I'm just very hardworking, caring, and sometimes it doesn't come across that I'm caring because I have a tough exterior to myself, and it's hard to not show that. It's either conversations that we've had, it's either me being really firm with my beliefs or me just joking all the time. I think there's like no in between. I don't know how to not joke about everything.
So mi pregunta para Griselda fue, ¿qué quisieras que personas supieran de ti que a lo mejor no es evidente? Y lo que has dicho es que las personas sepan que tú tienes un interés, que tienes, that you care, que te importa, que evalúas las cosas. Porque sí, Griselda tiene un sentido de humor que a veces pudiera dar un mensaje. Y yo soy igual que ella. Y por eso a veces cuando nos juntamos nosotros, tengan cuidado porque son dos armas filosas y yo soy igualito en ese sentido, que a veces yo digo algo a lo mejor y pensé que se oía de cierta manera y ya cuando sale de la boca de alguien ya puedo ver que pude causar, no sé, una inseguridad o algo así. Griselda, I don't know. Tell me because I can't just be all serious on this thing. Tell me something. Oh, you gave me some tickets to a comedy show. Did you go to the comedy show?
I did.
Was it funny?
I think it varies. There's depends what I think is funny and other people think it's funny. For the majority of the party, it was pretty funny.
And were there predominantly, what kind of people were there, would you say?
I think there was a mix of everything. There was, even as a studio audience, there was people like me that always have something to say and try to crack a joke.
Did you heckle? You didn't heckle?
No, not me, but the other people did. But there was this one gentleman in particular, I guess he was Jewish and took offense to some stuff that was said. And I'm like, well, you're coming to a comedy show. You're going to hear everything.
So we're going to get political now.
No, we're not. But I'm just saying, when you go, you have to just go expecting people to say things that you might not be okay with. You just don't laugh if you don't think it's funny.
So how do you feel about somebody slapping a comedian host at a live TV show?
I think that could have been handled differently, but in the moment he felt he needed to defend his wife, and that was the best way he knew how.
That's craziness. Le estoy preguntando a Griselda porque me invitó, nos dieron tickets para un evento de cómicos. Y les digo desde ahora, si usted va a uno de estos eventos, prepárense porque hay cómicos que toda su comedia es hablando con el público y destrozando al público. Sí. Y les puedo dar una historia y sé que nuestro tiempo ya se está acabando. Vamos a invitar a Griselda para atrás, ya más preparado yo para poder hablar de otras cosas. Esto es un programa que no se termina. Vamos a seguir incluyendo episodios. Pero un día me invitaron a un show de comedia y llegué tarde al show. So one day they invited me to a comedy show and I was late to the show. And I thought we scored because when we went into the venue, the seating that was available was front row seating. And so we walked through and the house lights are dark. The light is on the comedian. Yo pensé que nos habían tocado los mejores asientos del mundo porque eran asientos enfrente del comediante. Y cuando voy yo caminando hacia la mesa, venía yo con dos amigas y de repente dice el comediante, "You do not come into my show late." "Oh, hell no." Y nos pusieron la luz y así me tenían a mí con una cerveza en la mano y dijo, "Look at this guy. Who the hell does he think he is? He thinks he's a pimp walking in here with two girls." And I was like, "They're my friends." And digo, "Oh, don't talk back to me. This is my show." Y me dijo, "Oh, you must be one of them drug dealer essays." And he went on and on for a half hour. He talked about my weight. He talked about, that I look like a gang member. He talked about my mustache. And the whole time I'm just dying. And I'm like, when I get a chance, we're going to have issues. And then by the end of the show, he sent over a pitcher of beer. And he's like, "Hey, it's all good, right?" And I was like, "Man, it's all good." But I will never, ever again sit in the front row of a comedy club because I know better.
I had the same experience the first time I went to one. I did not know it was not okay to go to the restroom in the middle of someone's show. Yeah. So I get up and he's all like, "Oh, now we got to wait for her to come back. She's going to take forever." And I've always had something to say. So I said, "Yeah, well, I wasn't missing much, was I?"
Wow. Boom.
I kept walking to the restroom. When I come back out, he's tapping his foot, looking at his watch, pointing out how long I took. And I said, again, there's nothing that I missed. He goes, "Oh, you got jokes?" And I said, "Probably everyone's laughing at what I'm saying." I said, "Do you want me to go up there?"
So you can see the type of attitude Miss Griselda has. Yes. But you guys, again, we're just putting out content. This is very new. It's a little rough around the edges, and it's mostly because of me. But I want to thank Ryan, as always, for putting this together. Thank Griselda for being here today. I want you guys to know we're putting this on a social media platform at this time. We're not going to be live for engagements for a little bit, but if you have questions, a comment for myself or Griselda for this platform, if you have content that you feel you want to have us touch on, for sure, just leave a comment. You can, DM me if you're following me at all, or send a message to the agency, and for sure we'll try to answer your questions, your comments, and or create the content that you're asking for. But for today, thank you, Griselda, for being our guest today, and we just wish you all of the best for you, your family, for your career, for your life, for everything. Nothing but happiness and well wishes.
Thank you for having me. This was very unexpected, and I thought I was going to be a little more nervous, but hopefully I did okay.
You're great. Everybody has podcasts now. All right, you guys.